Hey guys, welcome back to Moyo, the cooking channel that's not so useless. So Chinese New Year is just around the corner, and of course, as per tradition, we start the year off with a vegetarian dish. And without a doubt, one of, if not my favourite vegetarian dish, is the famous Buddha's Delight. For a vegetarian dish, it's just so savoury and delicious, being bountiful with earthy ingredients like shiitake mushrooms and black fungus. And the dish's subtle sweetness spreads throughout the vermicelli and other goodies. No wonder it's considered a delight. And to make this delightful dish, you'll need to do 3 key things: rehydrate and clean the dehydrated ingredients, prep the ingredients, and then cook them. For the ingredients, you'll need green bean vermicelli, light soy sauce, cooking wine, dried bean curd skin, red date, black moss, which is completely optional, toasted sesame seeds, fermented red bean curd, salt, shiitake mushrooms, boiling water, frozen water chestnut, fried tofu puffs, brown sugar block, black fungus, and dried lily flower. And for the quantities, you'll need 100 grams of green bean vermicelli, and be sure you get a good brand of vermicelli, as this will heavily influence the satisfaction of this dish. 15 grams of black moss, 15 grams of black fungus, 12 shiitake mushrooms, though how many is up to you, 10 frozen water chestnuts, but again, the amount is up to you, 65 grams of dried bean curd skin, 15 grams of dried lily flowers, 100 grams of fried tofu puffs, 1 tablespoon of cooking wine, a quarter teaspoon of salt, 75 grams of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce, 3 fermented bean curd cubes plus 1 tablespoon of the brining liquid, around 600 milliliters of boiling water, but the amount may vary, toasted sesame seeds, or alternatively some toasted pine nuts, and 8 red dates for the New Year's good luck. But before we begin, if you do enjoy this video, do consider like, commenting and subscribing, as it does help the channel out. You'll want to start off by rehydrating the dehydrated ingredients. For the shiitake mushrooms, if you haven't already, then be sure to watch our rehydrating dried shiitake mushrooms video, such that they're available for use whenever you need. So first off, the black moss. Now, it can be very difficult to get the dirt and grit out of this ingredient, and the last thing you want to do is submerge it in water. Instead, grab a small spoonful of oil and a few drops of water, then almost squeeze and massage the dirt out of it. As you continue to squeeze the black moss, periodically add in a few drops of water before continuing. And then after repeating for half a dozen of times, you should eventually see this dirty water. Then just repeatedly rinse out the black moss until the water becomes clear. Once clean, submerge and allow it to rehydrate for about half an hour. Next, the dried bean curd skin, submerge it in warm water and weigh it down. Then let it soak for about half an hour as well. The dried lily flowers can soak for roughly 10 minutes. And similarly, the black fungus for 10 minutes, as well as the vermicelli. And finally, the red dates, but be sure to use hot water instead. After 10 minutes, with the rehydrated lily flowers, give them a quick rinse. Then squeeze out any excess liquid before cutting off any hard and dark end bits. And then to ensure the lily flowers stay intact whilst cooking, you'll want to tie them into a knot. Similarly with the black fungus, cut off any hard ends, then give them a good wash. For the red dates, drain the water, then with a bit of salt, gently massage to clean them of any dirt. then just give them a good wash. Next, the vermicelli. Cut into suitable eating lengths before giving it a quick rinse. Similarly, with the black moss, drain the water, give it a quick rinse, then squeeze out any leftover liquid. And finally, with the bean curd skin, portion with scissors, and then strain them. And while you're at it, be sure to remove any hard or curled skin. First, give the frozen water chestnuts a good wash through. Now with the black fungus, bean curd skin, lily flowers, and fried tofu puffs, we want to get rid of any preservative/oily taste from these ingredients. So boil some water, then heat on high, and when boiling, add in the black fungus and let it cook for roughly 2 minutes. Then cook the lily flowers for a bit less than 1 minute. Followed by the bean curd skin for roughly a minute. And then finally the fried tofu puffs. And for the tofu puffs, you'll want to gently squish them as they cook. And again, cook for about a minute. Then be sure to give all of them one last rinse and squeeze out any excess liquid. And then after you've measured out the other ingredients, you're ready to cook. So at your stove, heat on high, and when hot, add in roughly 3 tablespoons of oil. Now personally, we find that peanut oil really enhances this dish, so of course, we're going to use peanut oil. When the oil is nice and hot, add in your shiitake mushrooms. And make sure they're relatively dry before you add it in, otherwise the oil will dance everywhere. Then add in the water chestnuts and black fungus, and keep stirring until the mushrooms start to brown and you can really smell that earthy aroma. And this took us around 1 to 1.5 minutes. Whilst they're browning, you'll want to mash the fermented red bean curd into a paste before adding it in. Then add in the cooking wine down the sides of the pan. And while you're at it, rinse out the red bean curd using some of the boiling water. Before adding in the rest of the water. As well as the brown sugar blocks, which you'll want to break into smaller pieces. Then keep mixing until the sugar dissolves and the water starts to boil. When boiling, put the lid on and turn the heat down low before letting it braise for about 10 minutes. If you didn't follow our shiitake mushrooms video, you may need to braise for up to 30 minutes to ensure that the mushrooms are tender enough, and if doing so, be sure to add some more water. After 10 minutes, turn the heat back up high, take the lid off, give the bottom a quick stir, and add in the bean curd skin. before putting the lid back on and allowing the liquid to boil once more. When boiling, turn the heat back down low and let it cook for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how hard the bean curd skin is. After 5 minutes, add in the lily flour, and fried tofu puffs, and let them soak up some of the liquid. If your fried tofu puffs are quite large, you may need to add them in with the bean curd skin instead. Then put the lid back on for another minute. After a minute, add in the vermicelli, light soy sauce, and salt. And toss until the vermicelli is at the bottom. We want the vermicelli to soak up the remaining liquid, so if you find that there's hardly any left in the pan, you may need to add some more boiling water. Then add in the black moss, then put the lid on and let it cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, to which the vermicelli should be done. Now, the longer you cook, the more flavorful the dish will be, but make note that the vermicelli will break down. Once the vermicelli is cooked, give it a good toss around and allow any excess liquid to evaporate. Then finally, once all the liquid is gone, add in the good luck and toss through once more. Now, if you want this dish to be even more aromatic and flavorful, you can add in some cooked oil. But we personally don't want this dish to be too oily, so we tend to refrain from adding it in. Once the dish has finally come together, top with your toasted sesame seeds or pine nuts. And with that, your Chinese New Year's Buddha's Delight is done. So guys, that was my family's recipe for Buddha's Delight. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you ever get the chance to make this at home, be sure to tell us how it goes. And if you want to see any of our future videos, be sure to subscribe. See ya!